Sports journalism has come a long way since the playing days of legends like Babe Ruth, Bart Starr, Joe Namath, and even more recently Michael Jordan and Joe Montana. While real-time updates and easy access to highlights make the world of sport much more entertaining, it has also come at a cost. Athletes today are under more scrutiny than ever. Every mistake they make, on or off the playing field, is put under a magnificent microscope. The culprit of this double-edged sword that has reformed sports journalism? Social media. To understand the magnitude of what athletes deal with now, we must look back into the history of sports journalism and see what changed. Sports media wasn't exactly mainstream until the 1980s. The beginning of the decade marked the first few years of today's media giant ESPN. According to Jim Capel, a former writer for ESPN, sports media in the 1980s, quote, was a lot more peaceful. You had a lot more free time on your hands, end quote. He also added that magazines like Sports Illustrated were much more popular. This led to a lack of knowledge for fans. As Capel stated, box scores for games were sometimes not posted until a week after games were played, so if you missed the game on TV, good luck getting updates the next few days. This more relaxed version of sports media was worse for a fan, that is true. Fans have much more access to anything and everything they want to know, and after all, fans fuel the game. However, the impact today's 24/7 sports media has on the athletes can be less positive. This isn't strictly due to how journalists treat athletes, but more so because anyone can be a journalist in their own right. When the only coverage of athlete comes in a newspaper days after the event, this leaves fans to chat amongst themselves about certain athletes. However, social media today allows for the instant and public ridicule of every athlete. The hardest part for these athletes is that through this hatred, they are expected to remain level-headed and not defend themselves with too much emotion. This, however, isn't always easy.
I knew when I come into this building what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, when people start yelling pussy and bitch and fuck you and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take as a competitor. And, we're the ones expected to be docile and be humble and take a humble approach. Nah, fuck that. It's the playoffs. This is what it is.
While the new age of sports media is wonderful for the fan and sports as a whole, it is important to remember the side effects of such technology. The fact of the matter is, life as an athlete is much harder now than it was 30 plus years ago. And as of today, it doesn't seem to be getting any easier.
Created using Powtoon.